All right, is everybody ready?
Just give me 1 minute here. We're almost connected to Facebook. Just give me a few seconds. No, if you would go ahead and start that.
We ready?
We are ready now. Yes.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and call this June 9th City of Gallatin Council Committee meeting to order. And we have to read the Governor Lee's executive order, so I'll go ahead and do that now. Pursuant to Governor Lee's executive order number 16 and number 34, and the need to limit the community spread of COVID-19, the June 9th, 2020 Gallatin Council Committee meeting will be held by electronic means. The meeting will be live streamed to protect the public health, safety, and welfare of the council and citizens of Gallatin. Okay, at this time, call the meeting to order, and we'll have a roll call, please.
Craig,
Yes.
Mr. Hayes, you need to vote to have the meeting by electronic means by roll
Oh,
call.
okay. All right. At this time, we'll have a vote then to have it electronically. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to vote.
Second.
Motion and a second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Camp,
Yes.
Councilman Alexander.
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
Councilman Alexander.
Yes.
Okay, barely can hear you. Councilman Fan, Councilman Pinnell,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Love, I don't know if Miss Love is here or not. I can't hear her.
He is still having technical difficulty. They're working with her now.
Okay. And Councilman Overton.
I don't think it's that. I think it's
I don't know if he's here either.
oh,
I don't hear him.
I'm sorry about that. It's this one right here, but it's not picking up this.
Right now, to have the electronic meeting, I have 4 yeses and then 3 no votes.
Okay, thank you, Connie. All right, we'll call this meeting to order, and at this time now, we will have our roll call. Connie?
Vice Mayor Camp,
Present.
Councilman Alexander,
Present.
Councilman Fan. Okay, he's not present. Councilman Pinnell,
Here.
Councilman Hayes,
Present.
Councilwoman Love. So she is here present, but she's not audible.
She cannot be counted as present unless she's able to participate in the meeting.
Okay. And Councilman Overton. So we do have a quorum. We have 4 people present and 3 people absent.
Okay, thank you. And at this time, approval of the minutes for the May 12th, 2020 Council Committee meeting. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Connie, can we have a roll call?
Vice Mayor Camp,
Aye.
Councilman Alexander,
Yes.
Councilman Fan is absent, Councilman Pinnell,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Love. Nothing, and Councilman Overton is not here. So they do pass with 4 ayes.
Thank you. All right, this time, public recognition. Is there anybody who would like to speak under public recognition?
I will run down the list. We'll start with Caitlin Suddarth. Would you like to say something? Moving on to Kristen Meja.
Hi, my
Go
name
ahead.
is Kristen Mejia Green, and I wasn't at the Black Lives Matter protest rally that was held last week. And that is where I got the information about city council. And so I'm here to join in the conversation about improvements in the city and in Sumner County as far as diversity and inclusion. As far as diversity and inclusion are concerned.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Cal Gentry. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
I don't need to speak unless there's any questions for me on item number 2.
Okay, we have someone with a long string of characters beginning in DP. Okay, Frank Marchese. Would you like to say something?
Yes, just hello. I just wanted to just bring the intersection of Harris and Long Hollow to the attention of council again. I know we've tried to make improvements by putting in improved street signage and a no left-hand turn sign. Actually, the situation continues that people continue to make illegal left-hand turns. It's even increasing now that people are moving into Griffin Lane. I just wanted to bring it to your attention and that we really should get a solution because Harris Lane is becoming, again, I'll say it again, that it's a dangerous street to walk on with the amount of people cutting through from Long Hollow to Greenlee. My concerns just continue to grow as more people come into this neighborhood. And I would also like to thank Chuck Stewart and the police department and Councilman Hayes for addressing the Liberty Creek issue. And the
Very
mayor,
good.
everyone, thank you, everyone. I don't want to leave anyone out. I don't know who is involved, but I just want to say thank you overall.
Very good. Moving on to Jim Harrison. Okay. John Boone, do you have something you'd like to say?
Just listening and
Very good. Michelle, do you have something you'd like to say, Michelle? Mike Stanton. Okay, and Miss Dillard, do you have something you'd like to say?
No.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. Philip McGaffey, you have something you'd like to say, Philip?
I'm just here to answer any questions that are associated with pro rata share agreement.
Very good. Quentin?
Yes, my name is Quentin Kelsey. I'm here to, on behalf of sitting in and expressing my concerns on Sumner County itself, diversity, and the improvement of my community.
Very good. Thank you. Renee Saunders?
Oh,
Hi, my name is Renee Saunders. I am a resident of Gallatin for the past 21 years. Last week's March protest rally and the listening piece of it. It is my hope that the city council will be able to take up some issues in the Black community, as well as other communities in Gallatin, such that we can live more peacefully and we all can prosper rather than just a subset of residents in Gallatin. And I am happy to help in any way possible with the city council's efforts to do such a thing.
Very good. Thank you very much. Terrence Green.
Yes, I'm fairly new to the Gallatin area, and I'm just want to familiarize myself with the workings of the community and kind of ingrain myself and actually see what I can do to help push along, as Renee said, some of the efforts to make the community more diverse and so that everyone can prosper and possibly be an effective force in the community.
Very good. Thank you very much. That's all of our public comments.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. At this time, we'll have the mayor's comments.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First, I'll begin with giving just an update on COVID cases in our community. Today, we stand at 1,011 cases. We are at 46 deaths. That is a 24 case increase from yesterday. It is about 118 in the last week that we have increased. Looking at the numbers, I feel like the case numbers have increased a small bit, but overall we are fairly constant. Certainly we don't want to see any huge spikes. We want those numbers to go down, but of course as things are opening up and the disease in our community, there are going to continue to be cases. Mr. Henschel, I'd mentioned that there appears to be some open mics still that are causing quite a bit of background noise. I think all the ones I see are muted, but I think probably some of them, potentially the attendees, have some open mics that you might want to check. So thank you. Secondly, I'm very excited that the Miracle Park is making progress. If you've been out to Triple Creek, you've seen that it is actually going up. I know there's been a lot of chatter about that and people are very, very excited. I do want to thank our Gallatin Police Department. Last week, they moved really quickly, as did several supporting agencies, to lend support to 3 events that were happening in our community, and all of those events went well. Related to one of those events mentioned by a couple of the callers tonight, I did commit to sharing 2 concerns with this council that were expressed to me. One was a request for a police oversight committee in the city of Gallatin. I said I would look at what Metro Nashville is doing. I did look at that. I looked at when they formulated it, kind of their guiding documents and some information. I can tell you right now, the city of Gallatin could not do at the level that Metro Nashville is doing. It's actually a whole funded division of their city. Of course, Metro is a much larger department and quite a different scenario that we have here in Gallatin. So I have looked at that and I'm sharing that concern with you. The other thing that was a request was the hiring of more diverse officers. Again, I know this council is well aware of the efforts that the city has made in the last couple of years to hire more minority officers and the progress that we have made. And as I mentioned last week, and I will repeat to you all, and I know that you all agree with this as well, we would love to have more diversity in our applicants, but we need people to be interested in being police officers and then to apply for those positions. A reminder too to anyone who might be listening, we have a great reserve program, and that's a great training ground for people who may think they would like to be police officers in our community. And there's information on how to do that through our Gallatin Police Department or through our website. But that's a good program as well just to kind of see what it's all about. We do have a Citizens Police Academy from time to time as well, and that's a good opportunity for people to participate with our police department. Other things that I did want to share, two things. One, there is a cemetery cleanup happening this Friday. It's at our Gallatin City Cemetery. It's from 8 a.m. until noon. We actually, today, Mr. Henschel posted on social media a stone that I had actually cleaned about this time last year. And so he had the picture of what it looked like then and what it looks like now. And I think it's really caught the attention of some people, because what we're doing with the product that we're using to safely clean these stones really does work, and is showing the preservation, the preservation and the presence of the information that is on those monuments in our cemetery. And I think seeing it in action really helps bring the project home to some people, and hopefully we'll get some great engagement. But that is this Friday, 8 a.m. until noon. And then finally, I'd say that while we still are in the middle of this coronavirus crisis, it is very exciting to me, and I hope it is to everyone else as well, to see the activity that is happening in our community. We have had several restaurants open in recent weeks or months. We have seen so many businesses in our community to take advantage of this time to actually reinvest in their business, by which they're reinvesting in our community. So I just encourage you to look out for those businesses, certainly those existing in our community, also the ones who are new, and for those who are making increased investment in our community when they are undergoing struggles of their own, to recognize that and thank them for their belief in our city, because I believe that's what they're demonstrating when they are doing what they are doing. We know the struggle is not over for our local businesses and our local citizens, but as I keep saying, we will navigate this, and one day soon, I hope, be on the other side, and we will be better and stronger. So those are the things that I need to share with you this evening. I think that concludes my comments.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. And now we'll move on to the agenda, which is item number 1, which is Bill McCord.
Good evening, it's Bill McCord, City Planner. I'm going to share my screen. I have a short slide presentation for this item. Okay, I'd like to get some confirmation. Is the screen show Gallatin Committee meeting?
Yes.
Can y'all see the screen? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. This first item is a report on the annexation study that was conducted for the Woolhawk property, which is located in the northeast portion of the city, or will be upon annexation. The property consists of 524 acres and is shown in the area in the hatched, outlined in the yellow. I did a presentation at the previous council committee meeting on the annexation zone and zoning request and plan of service. And also there was also a first reading of an ordinance to rezone the property from a variety of county zonings, as well as rezoning some portions of the property that I'm showing here on the screen that are currently already in the city limits. So the area that's being annexed and was included in the annexation study is only the area highlighted in yellow. Includes this larger parcel here, west of Brights Lane and south of Roundtree Drive, another parcel on the north side of Hartsville Pike, and a very small individual lot on the north side of Hartsville Pike. This area that I'm showing here is already located in the city. So each of these parcels and lots are adjacent to the existing city boundary. The current zoning on the property is has a county designation of rural single-family residential. That's this light blue pattern. And the parcel in the orange is already located in the city. It's zoned R15 PRD. The applicant is also annexing the properties just to the west of the property that's already in the city. And that will be changed to, with the rezoning, if the rezoning goes through, all of these properties will then be zoned IR. Now, when we did the annexation study, we made the assumption that the property would be zoned IR without any particular development proposal at this stage. We since have received an application for a site plan review that is going through on a small portion of the property, but there's still a lot of property left over for future development. Now, excuse me, Oop, back to that slide. The current properties, most of them are used for agricultural purposes, and the taxable value upon annexation of the property is currently at just over $1 million. And that generates about somewhere in the neighborhood of $40,000 at that evaluation upon annexation. The properties, once they're annexed and zoned, and the potential for increasing their value would be increased up to about 65 million from the current 12 million total property values on that property. So it's about a 5.5 time or 5.25 time increase in potential property valuation and tax revenues that will come from zoning these properties, annexing these properties and zoning them. Most of the annexation evaluations that we do are based on a level of service standard based on population. Since this will be zone industrial, we won't have any population on these properties. So we did an evaluation based on acreage and or total percentage of acreage of the city. So this would increase the city's area by 2.5%. So you could conceivably expect at least a 2.5% increase in need for infrastructure and service, including what's shown in the report is the need for additional police service this area once it's developed. You won't need that until the properties are developed, as well as additional firefighters. And we've discussed the future potential for a new fire station in this area of town. So, but again, this annexation by itself does not warrant a new fire station, but this in combination with a variety of other newer developments in the area and future developments yet to come should warrant consideration for a fire station, or at least start planning for and or financing a fire station on the east end of town. So the basic findings of the report and the plan of service that you've already seen is attached, is that this annexation with the zoning that it's attached to it would be financially feasible. And again, upon development, and we compared this with the Beretta site, and the Beretta site's only about half developed. So this development itself is potentially going to bring in $211,000 per year in property tax upon development if it develops similar to the Beretta site, and close to $600,000 in tax revenues to the county as well once it's developed for industrial purposes, which would be feasible for the city. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have on that.
Any questions for Mr. McCord? Okay, if not, we don't need to vote on this, do we?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. Item number 2, you're up.
Okay, let's go to item number 2. Item number 2 is a proposal for a resolution to amend our city's urban growth boundary. I know we've had discussions about that in the past. However, this is a little bit different situation. This is a request by the property owner in conjunction with our neighboring city, Hendersonville. So it's only between two local governments to swap out areas in each other's urban growth boundary. Hendersonville has already de-annexed the properties that are shown in the light gray and hatched pattern here that you see, which is around a little over 12 acres. And they de-annexed that last December. However, it still remains in their urban growth boundary. The city's urban growth boundary is the darker gray area that you see there, and also includes this hatch pattern that's really about 100-foot wide strip that extends from Big Station Camp Boulevard to Lower Station Camp Boulevard. Why that happened, I don't know. I'm not sure why these things got drawn the way they did at the time they did, but they are, and we're trying to rectify this situation at this time. Now, the statute, the Tennessee state statute allows for an urban growth boundary adjustment similar to the one we're proposing with Hendersonville if it only involves those two jurisdictions and it doesn't involve the rest of the county. So there's kind of an outlet or a short option for each of the cities to participate in, where they don't have to go and reconvene the coordinating committee at the county level. If the resolution is passed both by Hendersonville and a resolution is passed by Gallatin to allow for this exchange, then that would be forwarded to the local government planning advisory committee, which is a committee established by the Economic Development Department at the state. And then they would grant their approval, I would assume. The main purpose is the property owner who owns the larger parcel, the 10.5, almost 11-acre parcel on the east side of Big Station Camp Boulevard, wants to annex into the city and include that portion of the parcel in their Westfield development, which has already been approved on the remainder of the property that's in the city just to the east. What this does is move that section of Big Station Camp Boulevard out of the Hendersonville urban growth boundary and places it in the Gallatin urban growth boundary. However, it does not annex the right-of-way. So that issue needs to be resolved before certainly the city may want to consider annexing the property. It just moves it into our urban growth boundary and out of Hendersonville's urban growth boundary. And likewise, the small appendage that I was describing earlier would be transferred to the Hendersonville urban growth boundary. So, this is really just a cleanup, and fortunately the statute allows for this type of exchange. And we have a draft resolution that's before you. It's in your agenda package, and it has the same exhibit here. That this is actually the exhibit from that ordinance or resolution, excuse me. And the applicant, I think the applicant's representative is online or participating tonight. And if you have any questions of them, I'm sure they can answer those questions.
Is there a motion to move it on to council?
Make a motion, move it on.
Is there a second?
I'll second it, Craig.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. Connie, can we have a roll call vote?
Vice Mayor Camp,
Yes.
Councilman Alexander. I can't hear him. He's here. Councilman Fennell,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
Councilwoman Love. I only have 3 yeses.
Councilman Alexander's here. He's muted.
Is he? I can't hear him.
He's saying yes, his mic is temporarily not working. Can you hear him from here? Say yes.
No, I still can't hear Councilman Alexander.
We need another one.
Hold on.
I heard him. He said yes.
There we go.
Yes. Yes.
I heard it.
Thank you. Gotcha. Okay, now we have a majority vote of 4 yeses, and that's all. No vote, no no's.
Okay.
4 to
Thank
0.
you. All right. All right. Now we're on to item number 3, and Nick Tuttle.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. Nick Tuttle, City Engineer. And item number 3 is an item that is a little bit of the fruits of the labor of the ordinance of the Big Station Camp Boulevard Transportation Improvement District. I know as you were going through the list of attendees, I think Philip McAfee responded that he was here to answer questions or speak on this item. I see also in the list Jim Harrison and Mike Stanton. I didn't hear them respond, but I know those gentlemen are here regarding that item. If you have any questions to ask of the development group, Mike Stanton represents the residential development side of things, whereas Philip McAfee is the commercial side of things, and Jim Harrison is the engineer for the development. So just a very quick recap of where we are on this. I believe you guys are familiar with what we passed with the Big Station Camp Boulevard Transportation Improvement District, but you passed an ordinance that required anyone that develops within that Big Station Camp Boulevard area to contribute to projects based on the trips that are generated from their developments. In other words, whatever kind of the amount of traffic that they generate with their development, they would be required to pay based on that amount of traffic that's generated. And the city adopted several projects that we expected to be built with that money, and that totaled about $13 million. So we used the sample agreement that was passed in our ordinance and passed that on to the development group here. They had a few minor changes that they wanted to make, and so the sample agreement that was used has been modified just a little bit. And there's one thing that they asked to change that was a little bit out of the ordinary that I did want to bring to your attention, just so that you are aware that it is something that is different than what was in the sample ordinance. And in our sample ordinance, we required that the pro rata share contribution, whatever it be, if it's a cash contribution or if they're posting a surety, that be posted at the beginning of the development prior to the issuance of any building permits. This particular development group would like for the ability to pull residential building permits once this agreement is executed, and put the onus of the requirement for the surety on the commercial development. The reason for that is the commercial developer is the group that will be doing the actual improvements. So altogether, the development generated the required amount of money that they were supposed to contribute was just over $800,000, and they plan to actually construct at the intersection of Hollow Pike and Big Station Camp 2 projects that were shown in our plan that will actually get them, it just so happened to work out, right at that $800,000 mark, and it just exceeds the amount that of the trips that are generated that they would owe. So in the end, this developer would be constructing those improvements to satisfy all the projects that we were going to construct at the intersection along Hollow Pike and Big Station Camp Boulevard. And they wouldn't end up giving the city any cash. All of the work would be in kind, or I should say, they would just present to us, the city, finished projects, and that would add actually a 500 foot long left turn lane at the intersection going north to turn onto Long Hollow Pike, and they're improving the right turn lane from Long Hollow Pike onto Big Station Camp Boulevard. They're also adding an additional lane from Big Station Camp Boulevard to turn right onto Long Hollow Pike, which requires a lot of upgrades of the signalization that's currently at that intersection. And if you've ever driven across Big Station Camp Boulevard into Carrollton, they actually, with their construction, will be improving the alignment of that intersection. So the value of the improvements that they're making, as I said, it actually covers what their pro rata share contribution is. So I recommend we authorize the mayor to sign the agreement and move forward with it.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Motion to send it on to council.
Third, second.
I'll second it.
Okay, any other discussion?
Sounds like it's straightforward.
Yeah. If not, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Camp,
Yes.
Mr. Councilman Alexander,
Yes.
gotcha. Councilman Fennell,
Yes.
Councilman Hayes,
Yes.
and Councilwoman Love. We have 4 yeses and 0 nos.
Okay, thank you. Item number 4, Mayor, do you want to take this over?
I can. Last week, as you know, I planned to be here and discuss it with you, but I was not able to. But we're trying to make a determination now about whether or not to go ahead with the 4th of July fireworks. I have spoken with the organizer of the festival in years past, and I agree with her that we're probably not at that festival phase yet. But I don't see any reason why the city of Gallatin could not continue with their fireworks program. I've talked to the police department, I've talked to Parks Department, and they feel like that we can accommodate that, people coming to watch them or whatever on that night. Let everyone be responsible grown-ups and attend if they like and watch from afar if they so desire. But fireworks could still happen in the city of Gallatin, and people could enjoy them in whatever way they choose to. I believe that the city of Hendersonville is planning to go ahead with their fireworks. Of course, they do those on the 3rd. I'm not sure what Nashville is planning to do, but anyway, we've got to make a decision about what Gallatin's going to do. So I need this council to make a decision so we can start letting people know, because we have had lots of questions.
I would like to see the city of Gallatin go forward with the fireworks. I think it'd be a great thing for the city. And like you said, people can use their own discretion as whether they attend or not, but I would love to see us continue with the fireworks.
Put that in the form of a motion.
Do we need to vote on it? Do we need to vote on it, Mayor?
I don't. I'd say with 4 of you here, if you say go ahead with it, then I'm comfortable with us going ahead with it. And if you say no, then maybe we need to vote on it or take it to council next week and vote on it. But if the 4 of you who are participating this evening feel okay about moving forward, I think.
But we're not. I'm sorry, Paige.
We're not allocating funds or anything. We're just making a determination on whether or not to move forward. And I feel actually like that would be within my authority to do that. But I want you all's feedback, and certainly
we're not going to have vendors or things like that, right?
No festival. Fireworks
Okay.
would be at 9 o'clock as they have been in years past.
Yeah.
And people could come to the park and watch. I would assume people, can take their family to the park and social distance appropriately. If they so desire, and if they want to watch them from somewhere else, they may have opportunities to do that as well as they, organize independent viewings.
Well, I'm just one, but I would personally like to see us continue with that, for you to make a decision for that.
I agree.
I agree, Mayor. Steve?
I agree.
Okay.
I agree as well.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Oh,
Thank you, Mayor.
Jimmy.
I see Councilman Overton.
Yeah,
Sorry,
he's
gang.
kinda- Okay, moving on. All right. Item number 5, Councilman Fennell.
I'll yield to the mayor again.
Okay, that's fine. This is related to Third Thursday. Of course, that is a Greater Gallatin event. They are prepared to move forward with the Third Thursday event. A lot of my comments might sound similar to what I was saying about the 4th of July. This is an event that's held on the square. There's a band that performs. There is food served by restaurants on our square, just as it is being done right now. And I feel like there is the opportunity there to allow the event to commence in July. They're not going to do it in June, but to commence in July, and let people attend as they are comfortable. Certainly, if you've attended, you know that they have set up tables and chairs, and people have sat at tables and chairs or at just rows of chairs that have been set out. One option could potentially be that they do not provide chairs, that people would bring their own chairs if they wish to sit and view. But at the very least, people could stand, they could spread out. There's a lot of space back at if you're facing the stage, there's usually a lot of space back to your right where there are no people, where people would have room to spread out. And then also a little bit down on Water Street as well, both to the left and right if you're facing the stage. So I do think that there is opportunity for people to spread out, say they wanted to attend and wanted to be distanced from others. Certainly, I would not recommend people who did not feel comfortable attending, but there is so much open in our community. I feel like this could be done safely. Looking for your feedback. I think I did send out to all of you today Greater Gallatin's plan to provide sanitizer, to provide masks, to do their best to help have a safe event.
I agree.
I agree, Paige.
If Greg's happy with it, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, considering I'm footing a quarter of the bill of it. Yeah.
That's it.
I don't have a problem with Thursday concert either, so I support it.
Thank you.
Paige, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Are we going to discuss the festival on the square?
I'd say that's premature just because I think we're still awaiting further guidance from the state. I think under the current state guidance, that would not be really permitted. But hopefully within the next month or so, we'll have much better idea of what that expectation may be. To be clear, this third Thursday on Main, this is an event for the community, much like the fireworks is. It is not a fundraiser for Greater Gallatin. However, that Main Street Festival that happens in October is one of Greater Gallatin's 2 big fundraisers for the year. So there are those considerations attached to that. Right now it's so perplexing to me because I think we thought by now we would have been seeing a marked decrease in the number of cases, and it's just kind of ticking along constantly. So we may be in for a rougher time ahead than we were anticipating. I think there were certainly many large group gatherings last week. We may or may not see a spike in another 7 to 14 days. Of course, we're all hopeful that we don't. But in time, this has got to start to decline and become better for all of us, I'd say.
I'm happy with what we decided this evening. I was just going to be hesitant about the festival at this point.
Yeah, I don't think my opinion is that we don't know yet. If someone has a different opinion, I'd urge them to share it.
Pretty good.
All right, thank you. Now we'll move on to other business. Does anybody have any other business?
I've got 3 or 4 things, Craig, I'd like
Okay.
to mention. First of all, let me thank the community and the citizen for a peaceful march, the Black Lives Matters. It was very impressive, the first march, because we had a lot of young people that participate in that march, and it's my desire and my prayer that each one of those young people were registered to vote, show their support election time to vote. So thank you for your march. Thank you for not being rebellious, and thank you for no looting or nothing like that in the city of Gallatin. So, and then on the second march, Pastor Derek Jackson formed a very outstanding march, and he made it for the whole community as a whole. It wasn't just a certain race; it was everybody involved, and I was very impressed with the participation that Pastor Jackson had with the community and all the citizens being involved. And that's what it's all about, all of us being on one accord. So thank you, Pastor Jackson, for that. And the second thing I have, I don't know whether this is a Nick, about the Gwynn Street. That we had done some work over there on Gwynn Street, I guess about a month ago, and we left 4 large holes over there, and I do mean holes. So if somebody would take a look at that on Gwynn Street, I don't know whether it's Zach, maybe, but somebody look at that Gwynn Street. We got 4 large construction holes, I guess they are over there, and then the let's see. Zach, do you have an idea about when the brush may be picked up on Anthony Street? I've had some constituent call about that. Is Zach available?
Yes, sir. Did you say the brush pickup in that area?
On Anthony Street. Some of them it's been there almost 2 months.
You know, if you'll send me the exact location, I might go get more info. But right now, our brush routes are going about 5 to 6 weeks, worst case. So if it's been there 2 months,
yeah, it's been there 2 months.
Something else might be going on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but I'll give you a call about the exact. And Mr. Tuttle, where do we stand on that crossing sign that every time I pass through there, it's knocked down? Are we making any progress on that, Mr. Tuttle? Are we still?
Are you speaking of the crosswalk there on Main Street, Mr. Alexander?
Yes, the one that keep getting knocked down.
I know Zach's team is I spoke with him last week about a repair there, so I know he's working on maintaining that. But in the meantime, we have been looking into alternatives where we were. I don't know if you've seen something locally. The place that I've seen it locally is up in White House on Tyree Springs Road, where they have I'll call it a lighted crosswalk, and the white edge line of the crosswalk actually will light up. And so we're looking into that, and I plan to bring something forward to you all when I get the opportunity. We're having a really hard time getting, because we're not bidding it. We're just kind of asking these contractors for some general numbers right now. And they're so busy that it's hard to draw their attention to small things like that right now. But we are continuing to pester them and be annoying as we can be, and try to get something out of those guys. There's really only 2 contractors that we know that would do that kind of work.
Okay, I noticed we got 2 of them right there in the heart of town. Is there any way we can move one of them down by Princess Street? We got a crosswalk there also. Is there any way we can move one of them signs down there to give a little more space?
Sure.
I know you're trying to slow it.
Add more. Again, that's an increased maintenance responsibility. Zach probably wouldn't like for me to add another one down there, but
No, not add another one, move another one. We got 2 sitting right up in town. The one that keep knocked down, let's move it. Could we not move it down just to try and see if that would resolve the issue?
Well, right. I wouldn't want to take away from the crosswalks that we have right there at the public square because of the actual volume of pedestrian activity there. I certainly wouldn't want to take anything away unless we were going to add something to it, like those lighted crosswalks. Now, if we get to the point and we do get the lighted crosswalks in, we feel comfortable to move those signs. I think that's definitely a good idea. And we may even consider these lighted crosswalks, since we have such the high volume of pedestrian activity. We may consider it all these mid-block crossings in the downtown area. I think it would be really a nice look for us.
Yeah, I noticed just that one seemed to get hit all the time. That one there in the middle just seemed to get hit all the time. That's the only one I've noticed to being hit quite a bit.
Yeah, I do think a lot of that has to do with the fact of all the growth of the plants in there. People feel a little bit less comfortable in getting closer to those landscaped beds, and so
Seems like that would be a good reason for us to move one of them signs down then, away from the plants.
Well, but that's also a reason to raise awareness there, because people can somewhat get hidden behind those plants as well. And so we just want to be sure that our pedestrians are safe. And I understand the concern for the automobiles, but I sure don't want anybody to get hit.
I don't
so
either.
that's the main reason, to keep as much awareness there. And if they're hitting a sign, I'm much more happy with them hitting the sign than hitting a person.
I just don't want nobody to come up and sue us about scratching the car, giving a paint job. Anyway, that's all I have, Craig.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you, Nick.
Anybody else? Any department heads?
Craig, I'd like to catch the council mayor up on Liberty Creek subdivision. Last Thursday at 7 p.m., a stop work order went into effect to shut down Liberty Creek Water subdivision. until, for 5 working days, which would have been Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I gave them a couple of options out there. One option that they selected was to hire a security team to come out from 5 to 7 in the mornings and from 5 to 7 in the evenings and Sundays to police the subdivision to make sure that construction work according to our ordinance was being performed. And today they sent me a security detail. They had all the information. They had them in place. So we lifted the stop work order so they could go back to work out there.
Okay. Thank you. Any other department heads?
Yes, sir. Wanted to update the council on the railroad crossing repairs. Scheduled to begin work tomorrow on the South Water crossing. South Water will be shut down for the rest of the week. We're hoping to have that work finished up by the end of this week. Could potentially carry over to early next week, at which point we'd have it reopened. And then the work on the Steam Plant Road crossing is scheduled to begin June the 9th, not the 9th, 22nd. So a week from next Monday, and that work should be completed in a week as well. Also wanted to update y'all on, I guess a couple work sessions ago, we discussed the 109 on and off ramps there in front of Kroger and kind of the maintenance issues. And just want to let y'all know that the Leadership Gallatin group is working on some, they've been assigned different projects on some potential ways we can maybe beautify or help rejuvenate some of the gateways into Gallatin, and that's one of the gateways that they're looking at. So probably another month or two, they'll be coming back with some ideas and proposals on, and it should include that particular area along with some other areas around town with some kind of gateway and entryway features.
Okay, thank you, Zach.
Zach,
Anybody else?
On Airport Road again?
Sorry, can you say that again?
The one at Airport Road, Steam Plant Road, it's busted again. Are y'all planning on fixing it again?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're that panel. We've attempted to band-aid it a few times, but we definitely got to get in there and fix it again. We're aware of it.
Okay, thank you. Any other department heads?
Councilman Hayes, I did want to update while Zach's shutting down a couple of roads into the week. Next week, we also will have our paving contractor in town and get most of the rest of the paving list that was approved for 1920. There's a couple of exceptions, but we will be taking care of most of the rest of them. So there's some other little minor inconveniences at different locations around town. And just to address Mr. Marchese, who had spoke earlier, I'll let him know that I'd like to get out and take a look. I know we've had the striping and signage up. I believe we actually I may need to check with Zach to see if we got all the signage installed, but I believe we had everything done that we had set out to do, and so it's time for us to take another look at and survey.
Okay, thank you.
I believe Nick, they completed it yesterday. So.
All right.
Okay, perfect. And we'll get some more counts on it then.
All right. Anybody else?
Mr. Hayes, I have one thing, if I may.
Okay, go ahead.
I think it would be considerate of me to just share some information in general about meetings, since we do have several new participants this evening. It's always unsettling when new people join because they don't understand, especially when we're meeting in this virtual environment versus in person where we can speak one-on-one with them. But the way that our meetings typically run is the City of Gallatin meets each week, except when there is a fifth Tuesday of the month. We meet at 6 o'clock. Every other week essentially is a work session, and then there is the voting council meeting. Public comment is always at the beginning of each meeting. For a work session, you may make public comments on anything, whether or not it's on the agenda. At a voting city council meeting, you you may make public comment at the beginning of a meeting if it's related to the agenda. The time for public comment on non-agenda related items is at the end of the meeting. You probably observed through this meeting that we do not take questions during the course of a meeting unless it is a representative on a topic that is on the agenda. I want to make sure that people are comfortable and understand what is happening with our meetings, and the way that things wind up on our agenda are through the request of our city council or our department heads. So that's my quick primer. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions via the mayor's office, and others are happy to offer help as well. So I just thought that might be useful for some people to know.
Okay, thank you. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Have a good one.
Aye.
Y'all be careful. Bye.
See y'all.